Right, hello, welcome to our Shitballs podcast with me, Andy Thompson, from across the west side of Cumbria. We've got BBC Cumbria's Jordan Weir. Hello, Jordan.
Boom.
Hello.
We have a very, very excited BBC Cumbria's Becca Thompson. Hi, Becca.
Woo woo.
And returning from the Odd Shitballs Naughty Step, we have BBC Cumbria's Dan Payne.
It's
good to be back. We need some class in this podcast, don't we?
It's all down to opinions, isn't it? And yours is wrong. So, yeah, Becca, come on, say something nice about our sponsor.
Thank you very much to Santa Marina Deli and Takeaway, who sponsor us but haven't brought us pizzas yet.
What kind of takeaway did he do, Becca?
Italian takeaway. They do special Al Fornos and pizzas. And Dan is the best
Tosser. Off door.
At Santa Marina. So get yourselves down. Thank you very much for sponsoring us. We don't know what yet.
Just excel. I excel at everything I do. I can't help it. I'm the top dog at Santa Marina. Top dog on the odd show.
Sorry, I thought you were going to say something else.
BBC can't go without me.
And you're incredibly modest. Modesty is your speciality, isn't it, my mate?
2 minutes in, mate. Got to get on someone's shit house, haven't I? It's all I do. Yes, Jordan, I'm looking at you.
Why break the habit of the podcast?
So we'll move on to news. You got a little jingle for us, Becca?
News section.
That was dreadful. We won't do that again.
News.
I'm not going to crop it out.
Whoa, there's a biff on the rugby.
That's not a biff.
That's just handbags. Yeah, we've got the rugby on in the background as well just because it's incredibly professional set up, as you can tell. So we'll go into the news section as Becca kindly jingled in for us. So Charlie Emsley and Lou Cresswell both signed two-year deals at Barra. That's great for us, isn't it? Not great for you, Jordan, because it's don't impact you because you're League One.
No, it doesn't. Correct.
Delaney Bedwards had a Jamaica call up. Go on, who's your new kit supplier, Jordan, for Whitehaven?
El Green or El Gren? I think it's El Green, but like you said, there's an E missing over these, isn't there? So yeah, I think it's El Green.
That's El Gren. That's spelled ELLGREN. That's El Gren.
I'm looking at your notes. It's spelled SKINT. That's all I can make out.
You've been back 3 minutes.
Wait, I've got something for that one.
Go on.
Oh, yours also got too much time on your hands. Honestly, I've told you this for weeks. Far too much time on your hands.
So moving over into West Cumbria, we've got on the 15th of November, it's an evening with Alex Walmsley to raise some money for James Newton. Is that part of the testimonial, is it? Or
I think it's obviously, no, I don't think it was part of the testimonial. I think it's obviously been arranged following obviously Newty's injury. And, it's trying to just help him when what he's going to need to. Obviously, imagine he's going to be off work for a number of weeks, if not potentially months, obviously. I think he's going to be in a halo for 8 weeks. Obviously, I don't imagine he'll be going to work anytime soon. So I think it's just been put on to try and help him as and when he needs to, if he needs it. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, so no, just a fundraiser. Obviously, obviously helps with his testimonial year as well. I mean, it's going to be great. The Whitehavens put a few of these nights on in the last sort of few months. There were sort of calls for the last few years, really, that the club needed to start putting these similar, nights going of getting sort of legends up. And they've had Jamie Peacock up, they've had Sam Tompkins up, they've had Jack Welsby up as well, which was sort of a bit of a last-minute change. It was meant to be Jamie Peacock, but Jamie had unfortunately double-booked himself, so couldn't get out of the other commitments. So Jamie come up later in the season. But Jack Welsby, considering he's still a current player, he's only a young lad, it was a really good night. And then they've had the Sam Tompkins do was a very good night. And then Jamie Peacock spoke really, really well. You look him and he couldn't string a sentence together when he was playing, but now he's been able to. He's got a bit of television experience and he's been in front of the camera a few times. It was a very good evening. He spoke very well. So I no doubt this one will be another good evening, and obviously for a fantastic cause for obviously following Newty's injury.
Yeah, definitely. So keeping with Whitehaven, obviously it was your presentation night over the weekend as well, or the Rothsale night, as it looks like it was from it.
It always seems to be the case. There's always that one player that seems to sweep up. I think, Dan, you were expecting Luke Cresswell to sweep up with the Raiders one, weren't you? And that's why you were umming and ahhing about giving him the player of the year. But yeah, last year it was Josh Rock that sort of swept the board, and then he left. So Ross Ainley swept the board, so it's not looking good. I'm not expecting Ross to be wearing Chockenbull of gold next season if anything's to go by, because a couple of years ago Tom Wilkinson sort of swept up, and then he decided he wasn't staying on.
Where did he end up?
Sorry, which one?
Where did Tom end up?
Tom ended up going stopping, and then he played a little bit for Ulverston, one of them, and then he ended up at Barra.
There it is.
At least it had a happy ending for him, didn't it? I'm sure he's happy. I was going to say, I'm sure he's happy he can keep his lights on at home. So yeah, do you want me to go through the awards, or should we save that for the?
No, you might as well run through them. It was a Ross Ainley show, anyways. So
yeah, so we've got the Takiri Blackwell Memorial Award that went to Ross Ainley. The Pep Gray Memorial Award went to Ross Ainley. Away Supporters Player of the Year, Ross Ainley. Coaches Player of the Year, Ross Ainley. Players Player, Ross Ainley. Young Player of the Year, Owen McCarron, just to mix it up. And Clubman and Volunteer of the Year was Mike and Nicholas Stevenson.
To be fair, the only reason Owen McCarron got Young Player of the Year is, according to the RFL guidelines, he was the only one that qualified. So do you know what I mean? Like, it was because I got the RFL email through a few weeks earlier for what was the championship in the League One Player Evening Awards, and yeah, he was the only one that could be nominated. So I'm like, well, if we're sticking by them, I thought it's a victory by default more than anything else. But in all fairness to Owen, he did have a really good season. So
are you cheering about that? Because that sounded like you're trying to take it away from him.
Text come through on my phone here from Owen to say we put Jordan on my shit house, please. There we go. Another text has come through from Ross Ainley. How about that? Can't wait to play in Barrow next year. Sorry, Jordan.
No,
Owen couldn't attend the award ceremony because he had COVID. So,
I didn't bring a last minute loadie to pick up the award. Did
In all fairness, Owen wasn't actually there either. So, in all fairness, he wasn't actually there on the night. No, I believe he started moving to wherever he's going to be next season, which isn't in Whitehaven. I'm not saying anything else, but where he's not going to be in Whitehaven next season, he started that process of moving into his new surroundings, I believe.
Cumbria based?
No.
Oh, fair enough.
You can't sign everyone from us.
Yeah, but it's funny, isn't it?
We can try.
You can try, but you can't.
No, we can't. We want to stay in the division. Next.
So, that's the race of BBC Cumbria's Dan Payne, and the bloke who thought Owen McCarron doesn't deserve an award, Jordan Weir.
Cheers.
That's Weir with an I. So, should we move on into our Workington Town season review?
No, because I want to say, you've just skipped right past it. The signings of Charlie Emsley and Luke Cresswell. How massive is that, by the way?
Breaking news.
It is. It's not really breaking news, but that's a big deal, you know. I remember when we first spoke to Charlie when he was coming up through the Furness Academy ranks. And again, I'm going to get on someone's shit house here, Annie. We were talking to him, and it was Connor Terrell. And I think at that time, it was Connor Terrell that was meant to be the next big forward in Raiders colours. And Charlie was just one of them ones that had a chance, and he's took his chance. That guy has hit the gym. He's just you've seen him back. He looks like he's a unit, isn't he? He's a big lad. And I reckon if he stays injury free, he's probably almost a certainty he's starting that team at the moment. He's an absolute quality player. And Luke Cresswell, what can we say? Awful fullback, isn't he?
You know what, mate?
I was waiting for this voice note.
I won't bring myself to do it purely because I can't find the button. So, you ready for us to move into the Workington Town review, season review?
If you want. I was going to try and talk about Luke Cresswell.
Well, you can if you want.
If you want to hear what Dan has to say about Luke Cresswell, you can just go to our TikTok account and watch the latest video.
What's it called? What's our TikTok account called?
Odd.shaped.balls. It's very...
Balls.
I invited some of my friends to follow us on Facebook, and I got loads of messages saying, "Why have you invited us to a balls page?" Becca, can you explain? I was like, "It's rugby, it's rugby."
But I advise you don't go to that page because it's run by dicks.
I'm actually not in the page. I'm admin, so it is run by dicks.
Well,
no, I mean
to be TikTok.
To be fair, he meant the TikTok.
The Facebook.
I meant Facebook is as well, to be fair.
The TikTok's run by an absolutely brilliant social media expert. You're just annoyed that I got you on TikTok.
I'm not doing TikTok. Andy, do you want to do this video? No. Oh, go on, do the video. No, I'm not doing it. Go on, do it. Getting peer pressure into it. I'm 30. I'm not doing this anymore.
And then pies him off on the TikTok.
And then I get mugged off. I was like, it's going to be one of them where he's mugging me off in it. And then looking at me sheepishly. No. Guys, I'll go first if you want. I was like, all right, yeah, you go first then. But all right, I'll go next then. You just do what we do. Right, okay. Right, I've been done dirty, haven't I? Right, rugby. Well, that's what we're here for. Rugby, not Becca's
I'm just here for a good time.
shite TikToks. Show me my money.
Oh,
He loves it. He loves it.
So now we're joined by Callum Linford as well, giving us a take from the Workington Town perspectives. But obviously, before we go into it, Jordan, you tied in with Anthony Murray throughout last week, didn't you? Go over it. So just play the intro from that.
Anthony Money, thank you very much for joining us once again on the Odd Shaped Balls podcast. This time it's a look back at the Workington Town season of 2024. Just had a quick look through sort of results and, fixtures and everything throughout the season. Would it be wrong to describe it as consistently inconsistent?
No, I think we couldn't get a consistent team out. I don't think I picked the same team consecutively 2 weeks in a row with the continuing mounting up of injuries. Even before we'd even sort of more or less sort of kicked off the ball, like Kean McPherson, he had an injury away from the club, so he was out for probably the majority of the season. Ellis Archer came sort of injured, so he sort of was out for the majority of the season. Then Dave Eccleston, right early on, needed a full knee reconstruction, so he was out for the season. Then Brad Taylor, he ended up being out for the season. Billy Southwood came sort of into the latter end of the season, had an injury in training. And then, we start season and Malik Steele was non-existent really with an ongoing illness problem. So Mal was sort of, played a couple of games, but just couldn't sort of, due to his sort of his welfare, couldn't sort of carry on sort of picking him. And then obviously, Jared Tammet comes to the club and, sort of makes an immediate impact and then sort of disappears for 10 weeks because of work commitments. And obviously, a player's, life away from rugby at part-time is, that comes first. And, he's telling us he's got a job opportunity and the day his main job sort of pays for his family and, his lifestyle. So he sort of disappeared for sort of 10 weeks. And then, 3/4 of season, probably about half of season, Ethan Bickerdike missing for about 8 weeks, Liam McNicholas missing for about 8 to 10 weeks, Stevie Scorley missing for about 8 to 10 weeks. We went through 7 warm players, bringing players in and out, and just couldn't get any consistency at all in team selection. And when we did, we won games on spin. So it was just really tough with mountains of injuries. And I think in total, we ended up with 61 players being injured through the course of the season. And it just absolutely crippled us. And I think the 1895 early rounds were, I think, really tough on League One teams because you're playing against championship opposition. And, it's really tough to compete. And we picked up quite a lot of injuries in that 1895 sort of cup, which was, designed to sort of help League One clubs out or give them more fixtures, generates more revenue. So I understand the process around that, but it was just, we picked up a lot of injuries in that as well, even before our sort of league campaign kicked off. So, it was a real difficult season in terms of injuries, and trying to get consistency in your team was really tough.
Yeah, so as he's touched on there, it was quite a bit of an injury-riddled start, wasn't it, really, for your season, Callum?
It was. This the 1895 Cup, even the Challenge Cup at Batley. It's never nice going to Batley with the hill and everything, but going there in February and March, it just isn't very good on the pitch either because it's a mud bath constantly, and we got about 3 injuries there, I think, as well. I think he's mentioned, I don't even think he's mentioned Jack Stevenson there when he, I think Dale Morton fell on his hand and broke his hand, so that was Stevenson out for a month as well.
So just obviously the stats I've got here are just purely for your league campaign, but you've got Kean McPherson who's played 1 game, that was from the bench. Ellis Archer had 4 games. Brad Taylor had 3 games. Billy Southwood 6 games, and is it Malik Steele for 1 game as well?
Yeah.
So you can just see with the numbers there. I think he's only had, I think Tammet played 8 games, didn't he?
Yep.
Before he left, and then you only had 3 players who had 20 starts or 20 games all season, with Chris Taylor with 20 starts, Matthew Henson 20 starts, and JJ Key with 12 starts and 8 from the bench.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're thinking there with consistency in that you can't put that squad together really, can you?
Well, no, that's the thing.
Campaign.
I mean, I often said, you could have, in theory, in my opinion, put somebody like, Adrian Lamb, Matty Pete, anybody in charge of that side this season. And I genuinely do not think, and I've sat my hat on this many a week, don't think they've done much better than what we've done this season.
So going into it, obviously he's had a 6th place finish with 9 wins and 11 losses. Obviously ended up getting knocked out in the semi-final for the playoffs.
Yeah, the Midlands, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously it started off well with your Ike Salford Memorial Trophy win against, who was it you beat there?
Yeah, Whitehaven, yeah.
36-28. You enjoyed that game as well, Jordan?
Wasn't too bad. But I think, and we're not putting the full interview with Buzzard out in today's podcast. We're going to put that in a couple of days' time. But when I spoke to Anthony about the sort of the Ike, I think this time round, he understood more about what it was about. He sort of got, I don't think he took it unseriously in that sort of, that first year, they've been 2023. But I think he'd used sort of 20, 21, 22 players in that fixture, where this time for what was this season's 2024, I think it was only 18 players he used. They took it really seriously, and obviously it was rearranged as well, wasn't it? It was obviously meant to be before the 1895 Cup game, but obviously the storm put pair to that, and it was rearranged. So I think the whole idea of the game took a different sort of level onto it, because it was going to be both clubs' last hit out before going into their respective league seasons. So I think it took on a different sort of life of its own before that game as well. You know, it's normally obviously early pre-season. The result probably doesn't really matter in terms of the grand scheme of things, obviously, although it's always nice to get a win over your neighbours, isn't it? But it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, because, you know, you're going into a league season where, you know, there's more importance on the line. But when it's your last fixture before the league season, it normally takes that little bit more on. So, yeah, so, you know, they were happy to obviously get that working, and it was a completely different game to the 1895 Cup game a couple of weeks earlier, where Town had taken the lead in that one and Whitehaven had come back. But then going into the Ike, Whitehaven were sort of 3 tries up, and then it was Town that had hit back and eventually got the winner late on. So early season, it was looking good. They were able to get the victories over the Championship side, obviously in terms of Whitehaven, but then them couple of opening fixtures early doors was really difficult for Town.
Yeah, so moving into the season now, obviously it was a difficult start for them first 2 games with Oldham and Keighley, wasn't it, with first 2 defeats of the season?
Yeah.
So I wasn't there for them games. Have you got anything to add to that, Callum?
Yeah, no, I mean, to be fair, when I seen the fixture list come out, I just literally looked at it and said, Newcastle's probably the first chance we've got, which was game 3, I think, at the time, was the first chance we've got of a win. Oldham was damage limitation. And to be fair, I think a lot of the fans had said, you know, if you can get something close with Keighley, you'll be doing all right. Because, I mean, as I say, before the injuries and things come in, we were sort of using Keighley between the fan base. Anyway, they were using Keighley as a yardstick. Would you get second? Would you maybe get third? Then obviously, of course, you say you get, you know, all the injuries. It was like A-Ward at one point, the amount of injuries that we had on the side, and it just ended up going downhill quick at both of those matches. I think we scored about, was it something like 20 points and conceded 140 in the 2 matches or something daft like that.
Yeah. And then you bounced back with a win against a young Newcastle side. I believe me and you were on comments for that one, Payne.
To be fair, that was the first time for me that when Newcastle took a bit of a lead, didn't he, at the start of that game?
Yeah, they ran ahead with it, yeah.
And I think it was that stage where we were just basing the league and how it was going to go on paper. And I think that a lot of people expected Working to be in the top 4. And when I seen what Newcastle were doing to them, it was a bit like, I think it's going to be a bit more of a struggle from what we'd seen in that game anyway. They went on to win that game against a Newcastle team who got battered all season anyway, but I think that was, from there we could see it wasn't going to be what they wanted it to be, and it turned out to be right as well. And another season in League One alongside your Cumbrian neighbours.
Very mature, Daniel. But you know,
There's always one. Yeah, no, but no, as you said, it was one of them where it could always be a potential banana skin. Newcastle, it's a bit like Cornwall or what was West Wales and things like that. I never really go to any of these matches expecting us to hammer them. I mean, that we battered the likes of Cornwall at home, went down there and genuinely struggled. You know, so it was one of them where they always do try and get themselves up. But Newcastle played some good stuff, especially in that first half. I think we were 12-0 up, and then all of a sudden come half time at 18-12 down, and it's like, what happened? Because you know, you went fine, you looked in control, and then click of a finger, they've scored 3 tries in 10 minutes and 18-12 up.
Then that was the start of a run of 4 game wins for you, I think. With your, like you said, touched on your biggest win versus Cornwall. I think it was 52-18. It finished off. After that, you then go on a 6-game winless run, with your biggest loss coming up against Rochdale, another sort of solid team. I think that 56-12 was it?
Yeah, that was. I think that was probably the lowest point of the season. No disrespect to Rochdale, but you went into that match and you think, right, you've had a few losses. It's time to sort of target this one as a win because they're in and around you the way you want to be, sort of thing. Again, third, fourth place, and then you get that performance. And I think even Anthony Muddy himself said at the time, it was probably the worst performance he'd seen as coach at Town at the time.
Yeah,
and it just they just didn't look as if they got off the bus at all that day.
Then bounced back in style with another win versus Newcastle again. I think it was the second of 3 games he's played. So that 44-0 game, that one, was it?
Yeah, that was over at Gateshead's football stadium. Is it Gateshead International Stadium? Again, without sounding disrespectful to Newcastle, in this one, it was fairly straightforward. You knew after 2 minutes when we scored the first try, it was just going to be a case of how many. And I think, to be fair, they probably took the foot off the gas a bit in the second half, as it could have been, it could have been 60, could have been 60, 70 if they kept going in the same sort of manner as they had in the first half, really. But it was job done at half time at 26-0, to be fair.
I think that was another start of another 4 runs on the bounce for you. Like you can see here, like Murray was mentioning about the inconsistency. You have that sort of run of 4 or 5 games on the bounce, and you have them couple of losses, which happened after that was against Midlands and Crusaders, I believe.
Yeah.
Then you get your other 46-0 win against Newcastle again. I think that completed your trilogy. And then obviously he's come up against a strong Oldham team again, which we, I think, from Barra suffered a big loss against them as well, didn't we, in the Cup?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Oldham were what they were. You knew, nobody really was going to touch them. I mean, to be fair, especially that last game of the season, they ran them close for 20 minutes, but as soon as they managed to break the defence down, it was just open the door and away they went, sort of thing.
And then going into the playoffs, which I think that was your target for basically at the start of the season, when it try and be the best of the rest and try and get into them playoffs. And obviously he's came up against a strong sort of Midlands Hurricane side, and I think that finished off a narrow 24-22, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it was equal pretty much on tries and things like that, but I think Midlands got about 4 penalties, and I think they kicked all 4 of them. But again, the inconsistency also on numbers and on team also led to an inconsistency with discipline as well. I think they were probably one of the highest penalised teams in the division this season.
I'd say, to be fair, that probably is one of them things that comes with, like we mentioned there, Murray's mentioned about inconsistencies with sort of his selection and that. With that comes your match fitness and that, and obviously then you get your discipline sort of side of it. Obviously, one other thing he's mentioned there was 61 injuries throughout the season and 41 different players used as well.
Yeah.
So that sort of shows you sort of consistency levels there.
Well, it does when you use 17 in a match day squad normally, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And a couple of positives for your season as well, Callum. You've got your top point scorers, Cal Forber, 124 points.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's Mr. Consistent, isn't it? 124 points. That's, 17th season at the club in all. Hall of Famer, retired eventually. It's like Peter Pan of Rugby League. He signed 1-year deals for the last 7 years because he's told us all the time, my back's going, I'm not so good with this, I'm not so good with that. Been very fortunate with injuries, man. I don't think he's had many major ones, if any. I think he was struggling the year Whitehaven got promoted with a bad hand or a bad foot injury, one of the others. I can't quite remember now what it was. And, he was kicking still then at 80%, with injections in his foot that he kicks with. So you're not going to get a more consistent halfback, I don't think, to be honest. And I think it's going to be a challenge now for Jonty Gawley to find halfback that he can either partner with, Kieran Walker or Zarengale, or whichever one that he chooses to put in there, because, during the week as well, Jordan Burns has announced that he's left the club for this season coming up. So again, that's another blow in that respect. But yeah, no, he's a fantastic player as for, but he's been around since 2006. So, well, at Town, he's been around since 2004. Started off at St Helens, but yeah, fantastic player. Not really much else to can say on that one.
So we'll move on to your top try scorer as well. Matthew Hansen with 10 tries. A solid season for him there.
Yeah, Matty's always at the heart of everything. He's probably got as many, if not more, assists as well in him, to be fair. I think he got 4 in one match at one point. I don't know whether that was at Cornwall at home, potentially. Very, very good from a couple of yards out with the scoots. Jordan knows that all too well with the Ike. But no, again, just a very, very good leader as well on the pitches. Maybe, if he's not got ball in hand, his direction was very good. And even when Jared Samet come in point the way through the season, there was no, if somebody even of Jared's calibre, he knew his place and he knew where he was going to be. And that was one of the things with Matty. He wasn't afraid to speak his mind. If he didn't like something that they were doing on the pitch, it was changed.
So touching on another positive as well for Workington Town Ladies, they won their playoff final today against Oral St James, the promoted to League One, 26-12. I think it finished off. Were you there for that one, Callum?
Yeah, it was a good game. We went down. There's a few of us went down from the Derwent Park Supporters Club, and a lot of the players' relatives and things went down. Very good standard considering the league, and that's no disrespect to Women's League Two. There's some really good players in there. Prime example of that is when you've got players from our league going up to the Super League with Barra. I think we've had a swap with one of our players going there. That you can tell the likes of Alice Rush that she's come from a good setup there down in Barra with, is it Amanda Wilkinson that's the head coach down there? She definitely was a standout today, but no, they've deserved it. They've worked really, really hard. I mean, I've had a lot of dealings with them. I started off their social channels way back when they were just sort of trying to get players in and doing all the things for that. And now, it's great to see that they've won the promotion that really they've deserved. I mean, Oral St James were the only team to beat them all season and come close all season as well. They've had big, big wins in the majority of the matches that they've played.
All season in the league.
Yeah, well, we tried to play Barra twice in the plate and they didn't turn up, so, we can't really do much about that.
You played Widnes and got beat, and I was in the Widnes team then, so... No, yeah, they've done well. I mean, it's just a shame it's taken away from the Barra and District side players that they could have really shared, because I think Workington have got about 50 players signed up on their roster. Barra and District's really struggling to get a team now because of it. It's taken a lot from them, which, it's not like, they've stole players or anything, but it's just they live closer to Workington, so it's a lot easier for them. Alice, for example, Workington, Georgia Naylor, who played today.
Fantastic.
Hasn't played for them. This first game for them all season, was it today for Georgia, but she's been playing... She's my friend, I should know this one, but she played somewhat near Leeds. She'll correct me, but yeah, she played today for them, and obviously she's from near up there as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame in terms of the Cumbria side, but for Workington, it's a good leap for them, and we'll see how they do in League One. But yeah, they've stepped it up, got in some Super League players, like you say, Georgia, pretty much Super League player, and Alice coming down from Super League to join a local town, which it's just a benefit for her, really.
Massively. I mean, to be fair, I didn't think when the season first started, I didn't really know what to think. You watch that first match, especially say against Oral. I think that finished 20 points to 6 or something along that line. And even then, it wasn't one of them where it's going to be a long season. It was just more the naivety and the fact that it was really the first sort of big game where anything really was where there was league points at stake. But watching a few of the games during the season, I mean, I haven't got to them all just purely down to the fact that they sometimes clash with the men's, and if they're on Saturdays with work and things like that. But going back to that first game of the season and seeing where they are now as they've finished, it has been a consistent improvement week on week, and it's a shame that both the sides haven't been able to have that consistent season, because I think if they had that consistent season, then both of the men's and the women would have had at least a bit more of a crack at the silverware. But no, that's the treble now for Town, so great for them as well, because they beat Lee Minor Rangers in the plate final as well.
That's congratulations to the ladies. So a couple of things we're going to ask from you before you go, Callum. First one, give us a nice little summary sort of for your season and your expectations for next year.
Consistency would be nice, whichever way it is. But no, I genuinely do think that a town side under Jonty goes strong in that league. I do. I've always admired how we kept Whitehaven in the league for as long as he did, to be honest. Especially, well documented issues that they've had. I think if he comes now to somewhere that's a bit stable, and if he gets the players in that he wants and he's allowed to do solely the coaching role and things like that, then yeah, I do think Town will be up there challenging. It'll be interesting to see how the likes of Gould go, because they're signing some quite interesting names. Dewsbury, obviously, as well, coming down. Whitehaven themselves might, unearth a few gems. But you'd hope for sort of top 2 or 3 this season, definitely, and just push on from there as well, and hopefully improve on the IMG scores as you go on.
So one thing we like to ask everyone who comes on is heroes and shithouses, Callum. So it can be throughout your full season. So a hero who you think's done well for you this year, and someone who's committed crimes against Workington Town throughout the rugby league game throughout the season.
So in terms of players or what?
It can be up to you, mate. Players, referees, coaches, fans. I don't know.
See, that's an on the spot one, isn't it? To be fair, I think the best player that we've had this season, in terms of his consistency, probably Zarin, Gaylor and Jordan Burns. The pair of them, don't seem to miss much, attack and defence wise.
So going into your shithouse thing, Callum.
I hate to say it, Nick Bennett.
Oof, go on.
He has caused us more issues this season than soft. Unslet, 22 apiece. They knock the ball on, clear as day, could see it a mile away, and he gives it to Town have knocked the ball on. No, that's lost the match because it would have been a clear, Midlands away, exact same thing. Decides to not give the try because he couldn't get his gut round quick enough to see that we'd scored. Matty Henson would have had 11 tries this season. And there's 4 points down the drain. So, yeah, there's other things as well, but he's just, every time you see him on the team sheet, it's just like, not again. 7 times last season. 7.
Well, yeah, well,
I
think
like Nick as well. I like Nick as well. He's a good bloke.
he probably is, but he's in a good job.
He's a nice bloke. I went to a referees course. We were on about referees course last week, weren't we? And I done one a couple of years ago that he come up and helped sort of the local guys. I had a really good crack with him, and he said, "Oh yeah," and then I was like, "Yeah," and then he probably winded me up in a couple of games last year. But no, as much as he might not be, let's say, the best man in the middle, he's a really good bloke, he's Nick. But yeah, I understand where your frustration comes from, Callum.
Just got a healthy dislike of Worker and Whitehaven, and can't fault him. What a lad.
I think you could when he absolutely screwed you against Newcastle a couple of years ago, though.
Right. So we'll finish off with Murray summarising his sort of time on Workington, which is through the interview he did with you, Jordan.
I love my time at Workington. I've made a lot of good friends there. I love working with the coaching staff and the players. Really, really good set. And just really appreciate the fans who got behind us. And I think they could see how hard we were working as well, and the difficulties we were facing. And yeah, I've got nothing but fond memories, and I've got nothing but compliments to say about the club. They were really hard in terms of trying to build things in the community. A lot of the charity days that they did, I was really immensely proud to play my small part in that. And sort of being there and sort of doing what we could as a group. The community days they did on the field of, Seaton and, Maryport and all the teams around there. I think it's a real good example of what can be done and bringing that sort of community into your fold. So yeah, just really pleased, enjoyed it. But everything has come to an end. Did what I wanted to do there. Left a team in a better place than what I found it, and that was my job. So enjoyed it, and we move on and to pastures new. And
yeah, so that's the interview Jordan's done with Anthony Murray now. Like you've touched on, Jordan, we'll try and get out on the pod probably Thursday and up on YouTube as well. That full 30-odd minute interview there. Thanks for your time with us tonight, Callum. Much appreciated, mate.
No worries. Good luck for the season.
Cheers. Thank you.
See you later.
So going into the amateur roundup, the Carla Prem division playoff final, Wharfbrow Hornets 18 beat Maryport 34 points to 8. Hindpools under 13s, the team I'm involved coaching with, have been promoted to Division 2 after beating Chorley 16 points to 10. And Warney under 15s have won the Division 4 after being promoted to Division 3 after beating Chev Sharks 36-6, was it, Dan?
It was, yeah. They went and smashed it yesterday. Yeah, I was trying to get one of them on the show tonight, but I think they're all too hungover, to be honest. It's not a bad way. Start the morning, travel up to Shevington, win the league, and then go watch the grand final in a suite. Well, they got looked after. These Warner lads get looked after. How did the Hypel team? What did they do with them after the game?
They got hot dogs. I think that we've got a pizza night coming up for them.
Okay.
Oh, what a great coach.
We don't put our kids on the beer too early,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because we're mature and look after them, Dan.
If there's anybody from Hypel under 30 listening, there are spaces available at Wally Central, isn't it? If you want to get treated properly.
Not for the 14s though, because you don't have a kid set up. Or an open age. We'll move on, eh? Oh, you've got a good tick. Your tick rugby team's good.
We can't have a conversation without bitching about each other, can we?
Oh, gosh, out of all the tick rugby teams, I think you've got the best one.
Tick rugby.
Tick and pass, tag rugby, tick rugby.
Women's.
You've got an under 15s and a tag rugby team. That's it. That's all one you've got.
Well, it's not my club. I just support the
Well,
lads.
you're the one who's giving it.
Next.
Up the Tigers. So, you got a bit of trivia for us, Payne, have you? Oh, let's just see you prepared.
So we're going to do a little bit of trivia. We're going to do something probably a little bit every week as well. I won't say where this has come from because it's going to go in my heroes list because it sent me some good stuff. But as it's a Cumbrian podcast, if it's only fair to start with a little bit of Cumbrian trivia, do you know what? Stop looking at my phone. Never going to hide it from you guys. So for those that are listening, I want you to put your answers on all week on our social media posts if you know the answers. And the one who gets the most, if all correct, will get a shout out on next week's pod, including you, Jordan, because genuinely none of these guys here know the answers to this, just me. So we're going to go old school. Only 6 players have played for all 4 Cumbrian clubs. That's Workington, Whitehaven, Barra, and Carlisle from back in the day. Do you know who the 6 players are? We can give them a little bit of a teaser if you want to give a little bit of a guess. I know Jordan thinks he knows one. I don't know if Andy and Becca, you want to have a go at it without trying to sneak onto my phone there, Andrew. But there is 6 players that have played for all 4. I can confirm, Andy, I know you're looking a little bit lost. You will definitely 100% know at least one of them. Absolutely will.
Was he a goal kicker at Barra?
You know one of them.
I know 2 then.
There we go. Come on,
I think
Jordan.
I know two.
Well, we can guess one. Give our listeners a head start.
Well, the one I'm 100% certain of is Gary Charlton.
Gary Charlton. That's from Jordan. I won't make a guess because I know what the answers
Wait,
are.
I wanna join that one. The goal kicker.
Goal kicker.
What year was he goal kicker?
Thank you.
Oh, good. It was like
No, between me and him.
I think it was like the Chris Archer, Phil Atkinson, Dave Clark era.
Oh, this is way before my time, guys.
Way before.
Let's do some trivia in Becca's years.
You
Yeah, so
will
bit-
know who Andy is on about, though. That's the weird thing.
He's had like
Oh, yeah. You'll know. Just have a guess. Don't worry. It's only a guess. You're not giving away an answer because you don't know. You're just giving out your guesses.
Well, I know before he said the years, I didn't know if he meant Jimmy Rooney, but that's
No.
way after. And
No,
then
not for Carlisle.
Carlisle.
All right, sorry. God. Sorry, I only became a rugby fan in like 2009.
Generation X or whatever it is now, isn't it?
Gen Z.
Gen Z,
I don't
innit?
actually know what generation I
I
am.
don't have a clue. I think
Okay.
I'm a millennial. So
That's your Odd-Shaped Balls trivia of the week. So,
can
can
I say my guess or shall I?
if you want to say your guess,
Darren
Holt. That's who I was going to say. Yeah, when you
Yeah,
said
that-
that.
That was
Sponsored
my
by
second
Gary
one, so I'll take
I
that.
can confirm or deny if that's the correct answer. We'll find out on next week's show. But anybody that wants to have a guess, stick your answers on the social media posts.
I'm so proud of myself, you know.
So the Odd-Shaped Balls guesses so far, 2 of the 6 they think, Gary Charlton and Darren Holt. If they are correct, there's 4 more to go.
Little
If they're
club
not
hoppers.
correct- That's all 4 Cumbrian clubs. 6 players played for all 4 Cumbrian clubs: Barra, Whitehaven, Workington, and Carlisle. That's your this week's trivia. Trivia of the week.
Trivia time.
So, like Dan said there, put your answers on the Facebook page for what's it for this pod to record this episode release. Comment on there with your answers.
Yeah.
And then the one who gets them the most right first gets a shout out.
Any of you get it right.
Huh?
Any of you get them right, get a shout out.
I'm just
Gets the most right, gets a shout out.
not the most right, but does it first before everyone else. Why is everyone like sort of just Google it? What they don't Google it, it's cheating.
Yeah, Google's boring. Anybody can find anything on Google. To be fair, rugby league is hard to
I bet you can't find that on Google, you know.
So I'll just say how much of a shit show rugby league can be.
Yeah.
Getting these stats for Workington's thing was an absolute nightmare.
Yep. It's true.
It wasn't on any of the RFL websites or anything like that.
Where did you end up getting it from?
I'll have to. Oh, you know what? I should have really wrote it down and given him a shout out. Really, I'll do that next week.
Was it rugby league? Was it the rugby league records at Me and Dan News?
And Becca.
It could be.
Probably is.
I think it will be. It probably will.
good. You,
That rings
you
a bell.
can select your team and like season and everything.
Yeah, it will be that. Yeah.
It's like online, not an app. It's like on Google.
The RFL use this for their stats from the stats keepers and that. They have guys from every club up and down, as many as you can contact, who send in their sheets and their information, and they just bundle it all on this app and this website.
So it's nice the RFL to update their own website with the information there, isn't
it's not, honestly. If it wasn't for this, it's right though, John. All the years we're doing this commentary giving, if it wasn't for this app and this website, it would
we'd be struggling.
nails. I mean, I imagine in the past you'd have to just go back on your own notes. Literally, there's nothing. When it comes to football, we speak to some people that do football shows and that, and they have stats all over the place. It's dead easy to find anything when it comes to football, but rugby league,
So what you're trying to say is, if you do a football-based podcast or commentary, it's really a piece of piss.
Really easy, isn't it? Yeah. They
Hold on.
easy.
Hold on. Someone who's stepping into that game, it's not as easy as it looks.
And that's Judas bastard Jordan Weir.
That's it. I've just remembered who I'm going to put on the shit house now.
That's 2 strikes you've got from me now.
Oh, fucking hell.
Right.
One strike off a pod ban
Yeah, one more. That's it. You turn up fish like Payne did.
in his kitchen.
So do we mention how baby faced he is on this? I know obviously people won't be able to see it, but no, it's quite a young face.
We've got to stick a picture of that on the socials this week, Jord.
Smile for the cam.
He's had a shave. He's had a trim and everything.
It was the missus's birthday party yesterday, so I just club up dinner. So
fair enough then.
Yeah,
Nice of you to make an effort.
Yeah, to make a little bit of an effort.
Once a year.
Yeah, once a year. That was it. Yeah, no. To be fair, it was more than once because I tried to do a spa day on Friday, so I had to sort of screw up for that. So I had some sort of credit in the back pocket. So you know what I mean. So,
getting them brownie points then.
Got to get them brownie. It's Christmas soon, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like it's getting them brownie points in now.
Christmas.
Right then, heroes and shithouses. Who are we starting off with?
Jordan,
go on.
Right, my heroes, and it's going to seem a bit weird me saying this, but it's going to be the Loughborough A side, who on Friday night completed the quadruple. So league leaders, the Amateur Cup, Cumbrian Cup, and there's another one I'm missing there as well. But yeah, the sort of the grand final as well, the league grand final, the Carla grand final. That is sort of unprecedented. Any sort of side doing that. Obviously, the last few years are sort of some sides have stepped up, they've gone out, and then obviously now got the A teams in sort of Carla, but you know the likes of Hensingham and Dissington. But no, fantastic for
distinct.
No, Dissington.
It's got a T in it.
We had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. Let's not start. Your lack of Cumbrian knowledge is ridiculous. And this proper Cumbrian knowledge, none of this South Cumbria shite when you used to be Lancashire. But no, Dissington. But yeah, the likes of Dissington and Hensingham have stepped all over the last few years, and obviously Kells a good few years before that as well. So, you know, for an A team essentially to be able to do that and wrap up all 4 trophies, fantastic. It is that. So they're my heroes this week. And just because he's took the piss out of my pure pod again, shit out of the way goes to Dan Payne. Because, well, it's you know, he was shit out of the week last week because he couldn't be asked turning up. So he was on a pod ban. He was on a pod ban last week, wasn't he? That's the line. That's the story we're sticking to it. And then I didn't really have anyone else this week, so he'll have to be Dan.
Just out of curiosity, Dan, as well, because obviously Jordan fire accusations about you unplugging all people's Wi-Fi, lecky, and standing outside front garden for a universal remote.
I think that was you, Andy.
No, definitely. I've listened to it back. It definitely just a voice changer. Have you got any answer to these accusations?
Absolutely.
No, sorry, we're moving on. Becca, what's your hero of the shithouses?
So it was a Rugby League Awards this past week, and Amanda Wilkinson was nominated for Head Coach of the Year, Women's Rugby. Bit disappointed she didn't get it, actually. I think with, you know, the resources that she's got at Barra and getting the team into 5th in the league in the first year in Super League, I thought she deserved it. So I want to give her my hero because I think she deserved the award. I was a bit gutted really that she didn't win it from a just a general rugby league point of view, you kind of look at stuff like that. And again, same though, I've got to mention Sam Burgess at Warrington. I can't believe he didn't get nominated for Coach of the Year. Warrington pretty much never, they bottled the quarterfinals, so getting to a semi-final, it's
That's why I didn't win it.
Yeah. So,
It's always there, yeah. It's always there.
So, yeah. So,
who was it who got the males coach? Who won the award?
was it Matty P?
Yeah,
No, it was Willie Peters.
With one of the
Was it
best teams you can create out of money.
It was Willie
Who was
Peters. It was Willie Peters.
Oh, it was Willie Peters.
Yeah, it wasn't Matty. But then, but then everyone had stepped up because it was like, why isn't Maddie got it? Because then obviously they've now won all 4 trophies, and it's like, well, fair dues. But
if you can buy a team, you can win trophies.
It's almost like they should wait till the end of the season after everything, all the competitions are out the way to do the award
No, I
ceremony,
like that. I like that it's before the grand final because I think it doesn't influence the Man of Steel then. Because you've got to look, if Bevan French was in the running against Mikey Lewis after that game, Bevan French would have won it, but Mikey Lewis won it before the grand final. I mean, I know Bevan French wasn't in the running, but if he was, and they did it after the grand final, Bevan French would have won it hands down from how he played in that grand final. So I kind of like that they do it before the grand final. I think that's better. I think it's less influence. So I argue with you on that one.
Oh,
fine.
yeah. Can I change my shit house?
Yes.
Can I change my shit house so it's not done? My shit house is Sky Sports News.
No, that was mine. Don't.
Sorry. Yeah.
No,
Yeah. I'm changing my shit house.
mine.
My shit house is Sky Sports News because they announced Man of Steel 90 minutes before he's announced in the room.
90 minutes.
They announced it
Because-
at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, they announced it at 10 o'clock because they record their 10 o'clock programme and that's what gets put out all night on Sky Sports News. So they
Then it went
announced...
back on at 11 o'clock.
They announced Mikey Lewis was Man of Steel 90 minutes before he was announced in the room. Sorry,
They-
Becca,
they
but yeah,
announced
that's my
it.
shit house.
They announced it twice before it was announced in the room. So everyone in the room knew Mikey Lewis had it. And all the reporters were on Twitter all over it. Like, well, everyone's sat in the room.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
That's pretty cool, that, to be fair.
Yeah, well,
That's funny.
Yeah, back to it. I think Sam Burgess was a bit unlucky getting dissed off for it, but I think Willie Peters was well deserved to win it anyways. But still, I think it's a bit of a dodgy call that. But yeah, so that was Amanda's my hero. But yeah, my shit house. Thanks, Jordan. My shit house is Jordan now for ruining my shit house. But
You're welcome.
yeah, I was
Jordan.
gonna give it to Sky News because it came out at 10 o'clock that Mike Lewis won Man of Steel when he didn't. No one knew, and then it came back out at 11 o'clock, so everyone knew who it was before it had even been announced in the... Is Dan okay?
Sorry, I'm just getting excited watching this game here. Sorry, go on, back to you.
I can't think of another shit house now on the spot. Wigan Warriors, just for being Wigan.
Right, fair enough.
Just because I'm a Saints
From a true
fan.
Saints fan. Andy?
Was it me? You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Right. Well, my heroes are my Hindpill under 13s team that I'm involved with coaching with.
Ooh, coaching.
Oh, coaching friends. Their first season in North West Counties. And and they've gone and got promoted in the first season. So yeah, well done, lads. And my shit house. Probably you two for not fucking concentrating, to be honest.
Sorry.
Yes. I'm sorry, this is some game. We've currently got Swinton and Huns on in the background, and it's an absolute cracker. It really is. What have we got on the clock here? My eyes are terrible.
2018
Four.
with 4 to go.
90 seconds to go, and Hunslet
90
just taken the lead in the corner.
Oh.
Beautiful stuff. Anyway, sorry, Andy.
I'll tell you what, right? So shithouse, it's you, Jordan, because you're an absolute amateur and didn't charge your mic before we went on this, and we had to sort of pause it for a bit, which means more editing for me. But what we'll do, I'll tell you what, because it's your bread and butter. You two do the comms for the last minute of this game.
I'd love to, but we're currently lining the conversion up, so there's nothing to commentate on.
Yeah. And we don't have a team sheet. Team sheet's gold dust, isn't it?
And taking to the kicking team.
Oh, you
You know, Dan, I don't get a team sheet anywhere I go.
You a nod, I know.
By the way, talk about team sheets. Like, obviously, I touched on when we were at that Workington game for Newcastle. You had to basically remind Chris Foreman to send the smoke signals to get who and what shirt number, didn't we?
He asked me for my number. This is a little story for you, and because this is the shit show that was, and probably still is, Newcastle. And Chris Foreman, the head coach, was trying to be the media rep and everything, and he managed to get some team sheets. He only had one sheet. He had to take my phone number, and the head coach had to WhatsApp me a picture of the team sheet that me and Andy to share. And then I had Chris Foreman then on my WhatsApp and my Facebook friends. Guess what I did? Text him a UW pitch.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Suddenly, I was going through Facebook. This must have been a couple of weeks after, I texted him on WhatsApp as well, and a few weeks later, I was going through Facebook, suggested friends, Chris Thorman had been deleted.
Do you know, like how you're meant to keep like rugby league contacts in your back pocket? You know, thinking, if I'm going that way, I might, if I need a summarise or anything like that, Andy can't do it. You try and keep people in your back pocket, and you're trying to sell them fucking dodgy gas and lecky.
I don't sell it. I just make people's bills cheaper.
How many people have you pestered like since this pod to get Gasolaki?
My it's a few. It's a lot.
It's a few.
I can't really put a number on it. Yeah, but it's a lot.
So if anyone has been conned by Dan who does listen to the podcast, we are forming a support group. So please reach out and just come on, tell us your sob story, and we'll shame this and put this evil villain to an end.
Evil villain
Can be a guest on the pod.
Or you can get involved if you want to save somebody before Christmas. Just saying.
So, heroes, Dan. Are you gonna give me comms on this because you keep watching it?
Hero. I can't
Johnny Vaughan's flapping his hands in the air.
I think that's Swinton been awarded a penalty as well. If I had a team sheet, I'd give it a go.
What's the score as we speak?
Swinton 20, Hunslow 22. Do you know what? I can relate my heroes and shithouses to this game. We'll just relate to what we're actually watching at the moment.
Well, let me do that.
Go on then.
Well, no, I'm just looking because I've got another WhatsApp group up, and I said if this stays as it is, this is great for Whitehaven next year in terms of travel, because you've got Workington, Swinton, Rochdale, Keighley, Newcastle, Midlands, North Wales, Girl, Cornwall / Bedford / whoever the one else is going to be, and
Girl.
Girl. Shut
How's
up.
that spelled?
Oh, God. So there's only really Bedford / Cornwall, whatever they're going to be. In Midlands, there is a massive trek. I mean, Girl's a bit of a trek, but it's only 20 miles past Doncaster. So I'm loving this. Loving this at the minute. I prefer going to Swinton next year than Hunslow.
You can have the head coach shouting obscenities over your shoulder.
Swinton are going to score now.
I know, right?
I know they're going to score now.
If it stays like this, right, I'm going to share my heroes. My first one, my original one, I'm going to give a shout out as well because he deserves it. It's the Barra Raiders club historian, Steve Andrews, who,
by the way, who was originally going to get it, but now you've been an
no, he's still getting his shout out. He's the guy that's providing us with these stats for some of this trivia that we're going to go ahead with, and I'm sure he loves it. Though Steve, he's been doing the historian part of it for the club for God knows how long.
But
now.
he's not getting a shout out if he answers the question, no, because obviously he knows it.
He also knows deep down that he's a fantastic UW customer. He sent me plenty of
click that out.
Boo, boo.
But I'm also go on get on that.
Six again.
I know, right? Hunslet, if they
turn over ball. Oh, Hunslet's got these.
Got it, haven't they?
Boo.
Hunslet.
Is it James Vella, ref?
Going to be my joint hero purely because me and Andy feared for our lives when we had to go to Saints ground. It's Alan Kilshaw, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I said the term gobshite is an understatement.
It's all over. It's all over. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Well, fair play.
Breaking news.
Yeah. Well, as we record this podcast live, Hunslet have just won 22-20 in what a fantastic game that was. Well, Alan Kilshaw, he was... we say these coaches, for the most part, if not all part, are very, very professional people. They have to be. It's part of the job. He's not. Was he?
It was
honestly, it was like the ultras in that stand, and he was leading it. And every time he screamed, it echoed through that tin pot stand, and the crowd were behind him, and it just became horrific. And he did it on purpose because he had a referee's assessor next to him, so he was trying to make his point across. And then we've got other stories we've seen in the media since that game, what he's been doing.
Yeah, we
probably and things like
mention that on here.
No, but obviously we've all seen it, and we can get an idea of the sort of guy that he's like. I mean, people change in the sport. Maybe when he's at work, 9 to 5, he could be a nice guy. I don't know, but I can only judge somebody on what I know from him. And yeah, shit house.
Yeah, all hell nearly broke loose. I nearly broke loose, didn't it, when we were at that game?
It did.
It was,
that's as bad. That's as bad as money a couple of weeks ago.
That was bad.
People were texting. People still speak about that game now. I think some of the listeners thought it was hilarious, and I can assure you it wasn't. I thought I was going to have to stop the broadcast at one point for me and Andy to get out of there.
Like we were trying to be humorous with it, but like it was hostile, wasn't it? We weren't playing up to the radio or anything. Like I thought, oh Christ, if we cheat, like we were winning as well. So
I was going to say, can I ask, were you winning?
Yeah.
First time he won there in about 10 years and all.
Yeah,
Honestly.
because we were obviously there only saying we won like by 2 points, but he wasn't that bad on that afternoon. And I had a Swinton play with me. I had Josh Eves, who was at Whitehaven, and yeah, so I didn't hear anything on that afternoon. Obviously, I know he's got that reputation, but I didn't hear anything for them. So, but yeah, he's not the most liked man in rugby league, is he?
No, to be fair though, like the media people and that, they're absolutely brilliant and proper look after us, don't you? You get,
Riggy,
water,
Ian,
chocky bars and everything like that.
Ian at Swinton's great. I'm actually chuffed that I'm going to get to see him now next year. So no, I'm chuffed because I know the great lads at Swinton, despite the fact there's no broadcast facilities whatsoever, as you can attest to, Dan. There's absolutely nothing there. So you've got to take God knows how many extra cables and extension cables and God knows what need just to be able to broadcast. But no, they're a great bunch. And while you're not chuffed you want to see your side go down, I'm absolutely chuffed because it means I get to go back to Swinton and see them guys next year. So swings and roundabouts.
Well, you get a lion bar, just make sure you wear one of them, right? Helmets for the mud flap on the back and you'll be right. Because I say, I'm not over-exaggerating, he was firing them up. But like, one of you was just ridiculous.
Yeah, I've never heard anything like it.
It really worked.
Like that referee was getting pelters, absolute pelters. And and obviously like he's doing it, the fan, so then he's egging the fans on. We're trying to commentators, obviously, like, you swing more towards your local side, don't you? Because it's obviously BBC Cumbria and that. Probably where fans of Barra as well. So you sort of swing naturally towards that.
Trivia if you haven't on the spot. Who's that? Oh, you missed it in the skull cap there. Ex-Barra Raiders player. Back when you were prime at Raiders Bar, Army, for those that don't know.
Was it
Morgan Knowles?
It's got his name on the back
Knowles,
now.
Morgan Knowles.
Michael Knowles.
Michael Knowles, that's the
He
one.
still plays.
Michael Knowles, yeah. Quality player.
I
Anyway,
thought he was coach now.
back to the shithouses.
Oh, go on.
I was still doing this.
We are still on here.
I wanted to get to this because I missed last week, and I know last week you touched on the presentations and things that were going on as well. And we had a discussion this week about, as it turns out, award nights, trophies, shields. My shithouse of the week goes to Becca Thompson. We at the BBC we like to do these awards every year, and we like to put our hand in our own pocket and pull out some fantastic trophies that we've awarded out.
You might like to.
I was going to say, you might like to. I'm not that bloody stupid.
Yeah.
Dan likes to do this.
Hang on. Sorry. Can we just go back? It was Whitehaven's BBC Cumbria Player of the Year.
Oh, let me just check here, Becca, because I've got it already. Oh, there isn't one, Jordan.
There isn't one. So
I'm not that stupid. That's why.
Maybe my shield wasn't the best. I, as a rugby player, I was like, I'd prefer a shield.
I'll be honest with you. Out of that shield or getting nothing, I'd have picked nothing.
Well, there you go. Jordan's a winner then, because he saved 20 quid and he's not had to do it.
What we'll do as well, because obviously, we've asked them to put answers and everything like that on the comments for when we post this episode up. Also, put whether you think a shield's better or a trophy, and answer this and sort this sort of
I think
argument out
shield's
for us.
class. You can have your dinner off it.
Shield, I'd prefer a trophy because effort's gone into that.
No, because women's trophies are girls with ponytails flicking their hairs in the background.
You get ones with rugby balls on it.
Yeah, but I looked and it was like I wanted a women's one, but I didn't want a girl with a ponytail flicking her hair about playing rugby. Vanessa Temple wears a bun. Get with the times. Come on,
give him a crop cut or something like that.
Just cut it off.
Just knock it off.
I prefer personally, if I was a player, I'd prefer a shield, but that's why I chose it, because I could have had a trophy, could have picked a trophy, but
could have got it on time as well. Could actually turn up to the award with it.
Yeah, turned up on my 25th birthday. Sorry, I'm cancelling my Manchester trip because I'm going to go to an award ceremony.
That's BBC's Becca Thompson, who couldn't be asked, turning up to Barra Raiders Ladies, who she also does the commentary for, and couldn't be asked turning up and giving the award from herself.
I'm turning up to the Barra District one on the 25th.
What shield have you got then?
I'm
in trophy.
I've been waiting for my trophy for playing in a 9-man team. Woman team.
Sexist.
Sorry.
How many trophies you picked up in your time, Andy?
What for? And
one medal for playing for Ireland.
Do you get trophies for 18 games or?
Well, I don't know. That's more first team of my mate, to be honest with you.
It wasn't Ireland, was it? It was the Euro Celts.
The Euro Celts, it was my mate, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even the real
Celts,
team.
It was to be fair, there was only 6 of us from Ireland. The rest was France, Czech Republic,
Yeah, my great granddad came to Ireland once and had a pint of Guinness, so I can play.
Hey, all my family are all from
It's actually got.
from that neck of the woods.
No, I meant
from
the other
Belfast.
ones, not you.
Oh, right.
I believe that.
I have got legit Irish family, to be fair. Well,
Do you know what? If this podcast was earlier, Andy's mum would 100% be on the shithouse list. Every week that Andy started out with the BBC, I bigged him up. I bigged him up as his former Ireland international, as a coach of the year and the NCL. And then his mum...
I'd never been in the NCL.
His mum resorted to social media and put pictures, how proud she was of her son representing Ireland when he was about 10. How old were you?
15. And I've been riding that coattail ever since.
She's ruined the illusion.
I've got no credibility now. It's just who's this? Oh,
Jordan's doing the Macarena.
were you trying to
Yeah,
play
because
or not?
I lost you for about 30 seconds.
Oh, you weren't.
Andy was just crying.
We were
Should
just
we
talking
wrap it
about
up?
my class insurance payout and that. It was brilliant.
Like about Andy's rugby league history and career when he was 15.
When I was 15, I peaked. I peaked then, and that was it. It was all downhill from there. Injuries and class Ds.
I can finish on a story of my peak career if you want. It's kind of funny and kind of tragic at the same time.
Go on.
It's tragic. Right. So it was way back, right, in me military days. Yes, when I was on camp. Now, when I was,
Is that in
was on
comparison
camp?
to being camp?
And I was sharing a room. There was 8 of us, and a lot of these guys were from down south, and it was all rugby union. And I was waving that rugby league flag as much as I could. And we pushed because they are, you want to play rugby, come play. We're doing army trials, or play for the camp, see how you can go. And it was all union, and it kind of peed me off. And then one day, someone collared me like, "Dan, they're playing rugby league down on the fields." Really? I was like, yeah. So I was having a trek down. I played some rugby league. I was like, here we go. I can actually play for the British Army. But bearing in mind here, I was like 17, peak fitness, right? I was fit as a butcher. Do you think of it looking at me now? And as I'm walking down, for those that aren't aware, I know you will be, Andy, but Gurkhas, I don't know if you've heard of the Gurkhas when it comes to the army. They're not blessed with height, shall we say. So I'm walking down this path and there's these Gurkhas around me and I'm like, these are going to play rugby. This will be class. Like, I'm bigger than these guys. I'll be all right. So I'm hodging down. Must have been about a mile walk to these fields, and I'm not with the Gurkhas, but I'm almost following them with excitement that I'm going to go smash these trials, get in the team, etc. Then we can see the gate, and the Gurkhas turn off to the left, and I'm like, where are they going? So there was a few other lads that went onto the field. I walked on, and I'm like, right, so there's no Gurkhas to compete with now, but let's see what's left. Right. As I got onto the field, there must have been, I'd say, 15 to 20 Fijian lads. Now, I don't know if you ever watched that British Army play on the TV. These Fijian guys, Jordan, they are monsters. I think quite recently, one of the lads that played in the army went on to sign for Hull FC. I think he played for Hull FC for you. I forgot his name. Yeah. But they're absolutely incredible monsters of human beings. Now, I've walked on, I've seen these Fijians, and then I've took my own left, and I've followed the Gurkhas, and I've come back off the field. I was like, I'm not even attempting to do my trials with these guys. And yeah, as it happens, I think most of you watch them when they play a Challenge Cup game. Sometimes they get on the telly, the British Army, and they are so predominantly all these Fiji lads, and they are huge, great guys as well. Some of the friendliest guys I've ever met, these Fijians and the Gurkhas, to be fair. But yeah, that was my army career. I'm not playing with the Fijian guys.
Absolute coward.
I was coward.
I'm all right.
I love it. Yeah,
smashing the little boys. But...
Oh dear. I know. I was dead excited. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go smash some Gurkha and that. And then nope. To be fair, they're hard.
Oh, they might say,
yeah, they might not look it, but no.
I've just got like an image of you getting battered by a lot of 4-foot Gurkha.
I know. Probably the same thing. I know. Yeah, but yeah, that was. So anybody that is in the army or wants to play army in the rugby in the British Army, anyone young up and coming rugby players out there, you need to get as big as the Fijian lads.
Our Impil's open age when I was coaching them, we got offered a friendly against the Remy, and yeah, so we played against them. We told it's just a small regimental team, just a friendly in that. So we thought, like, we'll protect most of the first team lads and that. We'll put like A team as a masters in, and then these Fijians, and this Fijian acting halfback, and honestly, he just kicked the shit out. Like, Tomo, what's going on here? I don't know. Like, holding my hands up, going, sorry lads.
You got 16-year-olds lying on the floor.
40-year-olds getting the shit kicked out of them by squaddies.
Like, where's the tags at?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't popular then, like. Oh,
Big
right.
boys.
Should we knock off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice way to end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mocking ourselves.
That's it.
It's what we've done since episode 1, isn't it?
So, cheers, Jordan. Cheers, Becca.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Daniel.
Thanks.
Thanks, Andy. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks for all your help, Andy. Thanks for bringing the equipment.
Oh, yeah. That's all I am. Right, the BBC cocktail starter. Right. Thank you. Cheers. Ta-ra.
Bye.
UW.